Hello, fellow Sudokans, and welcome to Zen and the Art of the Guardian Sudoku puzzle. It's Monday the 6th of November 2023. If you are recovering from a November the 5th party in the UK, well, let's hope you don't have too much of a headache. And welcome to Zen and the Art of the Guardian Sudoku puzzle, which is a channel which every Monday drags people kicking and screaming into the game of Sudoku, having never played it before, because Monday is always our beginner level day. The Guardian has a super easy puzzle on a Monday that you don't need to fear, even if you've never played the game before and you just have some kind of basic idea about logic. And you don't even, you just need to understand yes or no. You can make a choice. Yes or no, that's all you basically need to play the game on a Monday. I usually mention something about what's going on in the news. I see the UN Special Rapporteur on Poverty and Human Rights, Olivier de Schutter, has decried Britain's levels of poverty as unacceptable and saying that the government is actually violating international law. That's how terrible the Tories are. And yes, I'm not really surprised. I must admit, it doesn't come as much of a surprise to me. Although I don't live in the UK anymore, but I do know the cost of living is extremely high, especially in terms of things like rent that has to be paid, appallingly high rent. And other bills as well, in particular, of course, fuel bills, etc. Now that the winter is arriving, I live in a hot country, so I don't have to worry too much about that anymore, but it is concerning for people back in the UK. Right, so it's a Monday, it's a beginner level puzzle, so I have to explain how to play the game first of all. It's really not that complicated. You can see it's a grid of 9 squares across by 9 squares down, and we have lots of numbers already placed in the middle. It kind of looks like to me it looks like a sideways, almost like a man with his arms outstretched lying down today, or something with a strange hat. I don't know, that's what I see. Of course, there is no pattern there. It's just a human failing of finding random patterns, where they're finding patterns in random digits where there aren't any. Anyway, well, I suppose in this case it could have been intentional from the setter. How do we play the game? Well, we have to fill up the empty squares. What do we put in there? Come on, guess. Yeah, of course, we have to put numbers in there. Now, here's a completely virgin row at the top here, no digits in it whatsoever. And we will eventually fill it up with the digits 1 to 9. And guess what? Over here on the right-hand side, here's a completely empty column with 9 empty squares, so we will fill in the numbers 1 to 9 here as well. Let's have a look at this column here though, because look, this column we only have 1, 2, 3, 4 empty squares, because the excuse me, the other 5 numbers are already completed. So we've got 1, we've got 6, 4, 5 and 7, so we need the other numbers to complete the series of 1 to 9. Okay, so that's it. Oh, I almost forgot to make it a little trickier and to make the puzzle fun. We also have these small blocks of 3 by 3, and again we are looking for digits 1 to 9 in each. And of course, because there are only 9 squares in each row, column and block, a number cannot be repeated. And this is the key to completing the Sudoku grid, is understanding that a number can appear in its row or column or block one time only. If you understand that, well, that's how we play the game. For example, in this block over here, we have 2, 3, 6, 7 and 8 already. So what we don't have is 1, we don't have 4, we don't have 5, and we don't have 9. And there are 4 empty squares, so that those 4 empty squares must contain 1, 4, 5 and 9. That's what goes in there. So now if we look at the surrounding digits, if we look at this 5 here, well, we know that the 5 is already in this row and cannot reappear, because remember, in each row, each number can appear once only. And we have a 5 down here, so 5 can't reappear in this row, right? So since we have numbers in other squares, there is only one empty square where the 5 can possibly go, and we know that the 5 does in fact go there. Got it? All right. Now, should I tell you more about the 5s or not? No, let's do some. Let's show you another example first. So we've got 1 in this column already. Okay, cannot reappear. We've got 1 in this column already, can't reappear, and we've got 1 in this row which blocks across here and right the way to here, but I'm interested in this particular section here, this 3x3 grid here. So you can see because of these 3 1s, we are left with only one possible place where we can put the 1. Got it? Okay. Now I want to show you a little something about the 5s, because we can also consider ahead of time. I don't know if this is, I think this is okay. I've told you twice how to get these digits. So let's consider the 5s again. So now look, we've got 5 blocking down here, and we've got 5 across here. Okay? So in this block down here, 5 is either in this square or in this square. Which one? I don't know. I don't know, but importantly, I do know that it can't go in any of the other 3 empty squares. So I can say for sure that 5 is here or here. Now, if the 5 is in this square, well, 5 is disallowed from here. And if the 5 is in this square, well, 5 is disallowed from here. So 5 blocks right across there like that. And it means that these 2 squares cannot be 5, because 5 is either here or here, right? And now we've got 5 blocking across this row here, and we've got 5 blocking down here, and that means that this has to be a 5, even though we don't know which one of these 2 squares is 5. Because we know it has to be in one of those squares, we can get this 5 here. I hope that made sense. If not, because it's your very first time playing Sudoku, just watch it again, go back and check it again. Now I'm going to do exactly the same thing with the 1s now. Look again at the 1s and look in the same region. We've got 1 blocking across here, and we've got 1 blocking down here. So where is the 1? Well, it's either this square or this square, right? So we know that the 1 is here or here. Same thing applies. 1 then will block, the 1 will block across this row here, and this 1 will block across this row here. Now, a moment ago we had would have had 2 empty squares, but now we've got the 5 in here. We've only got 1 empty square. And so we know that the 1 is here. Now something else has cropped up. We know that this square is 1 or 5, and this is 1 or 5. Now we have 2 numbers in 2 squares. This is 1 or 5, and this is 1 or 5. It can't be anything else, because we know that the 1 and the 5 have to be in these 2 squares, right? So this is 1 and 5, and this is 1 and 5. Which is which we can't say at this time, but we do know that it can only be 1 or 5. So let's look at the other empty squares in this block. We've got 3 empty squares. Let's consider the 6. Now we've got 6 blocking across here and 6 down here, and so we know that the only number that we know, it can't be 1 or 5. It can't be in these squares because they contain 1 or 5. So this is the only possibility for the 6. We can take that 6 up to the top and up here, and a 6 blocking across here, and that will give me a 6 in that square there. While we're on the 6s, we'll continue with 6s for a while, because we can find a bit more. We've got 6s like this. And now we've got, in this column here, if we look at the intersecting 6s, we'll see something. We've got 6 blocking actually both of these squares, or we've also got 6 blocking this square. So we're sure that these squares can't be 6. We've got 6 blocking this square, we've got 6 blocking this square, and 6 blocking this square here. And so there is only 1 empty square in this column that can be a 6. So we know that the 6 must go there. Now I want to come back to this 1 and 5 that we had down here. If you remember a moment ago, we said this is 1 or 5, and now we only have 2 digits left. So this is 1 or 5. So these 2 squares here can only contain 4 and 7, because that's everything we need to complete the grid, right? The block here. So we can see that, in fact, we've got 2 7s blocking this square. So we know this definitely can't be a 7. We only need 1. We've got double. And now we know that this has to be a 4, because it's not 1 or 5, because we already know that 1 or 5 are in those squares there. Right? Does that make sense? So we know that that's a 4. Okay, so we're making good progress. Now what we could do is we could look over here and see which digits complete this row. We've got 1, we don't have 2, we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we don't have 8 and 9, so we've got 2, 8 and 9 in these 3 squares here to complete this row, okay? We don't have 2, we don't have 8, and we don't have 9. Well, if we look up here, we can see we've got 2 and 9 together in the same row. So when we consider this square, remember, only 2, 8, 9 here. We ask ourselves, can it be 2? No. Could it be 8? Yes. Can it be 9? No. Well, that's it then. It has to be 8. Right, so over here we can see the 4 blocking right across here, which gives us only one opportunity to place the 4 there. And now we'll take those 4s northwards, and that will give us this 4 and this 4, which means that this block up here will have a 4 there. Now there's only one empty square in this column. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So this must be a 9. And now there's only one empty square in this block, and it's going to be a 1. There we are. Now 1 block's down here. Now you remember we had 1 and 5 in these squares. We now see that this can't be 1. So that will be 1, and this will be 5. We have 2 empty squares in this column here. The missing numbers are 2 and 7. We don't yet have 2 or 7, but we can, when we look across for 2 or 7, this row or this row, we can see the 7. So the 7 blocks this square here, so that will be our 7, and this will be our 2. So we have 3 empty squares here, and the missing numbers are 5, 8, and 9. But we don't have enough information here to fill that in. We only know that the 5 blocks this square, so 5 is going to be in one of those squares. But the 8 and 9, we don't know at the moment. So we looked, but we didn't come up trumps there. We just don't know. We have to look again at other things and continue our search elsewhere. Right, what else is going on? That's 4, 8, that's 2, 3. Okay, I'm looking, trying to find the next thing, because if you are new to the channel, you should know that I don't play these games ahead of time, whatever the level, easy, difficult, or hard, or expert. I always play them live on camera. So what you see is what you get, WYSIWYG, as they used to say in early computing terms. 6 across here and up and down there means that this is the only place where a 6 can go. And a 6 is now finished. What do I mean finished? Well, we have a 6 in every column, we have a 6 in every row, and a 6 in every one of these blocks. So there are no more 6s to find on this grid. 1 blocks across here, and 1 blocks across here, and 1 blocks up here. So this is going to be the location for 1. And 1 blocks up here, and across this row, which will give me the final digit 1. So like 6, we have a 1 in every one of the blocks. Every row, every column has a 1. We don't need to worry about it anymore. We have 2 blocking across here and across here. So in this section here, that's where the 2 is. Now we have 2 blocking down, the 2 that we just inserted, and the 2 across here. So that will give us 2 in that square there. We can't do any more to the 2's at the moment, so we'll leave that and maybe just go through the 3 blocking across here, which will give us the 3 in this square here. Now, okay, so I want to do a thinking forward type exercise again. Okay, so we've got 3 blocking across here. That means that 3 is either in this square or in this square, but we don't know which one yet. Okay, but just it's here or it's here. So I'm going to click on the 2 to show that 2 squares to show that 3 is either here or here. Okay, so now let's consider we've got 3 blocking all the way up here, and 3 blocking all the way up here, and 3 across here like this. Okay, so that means that in this block here, the only possibility of a 3 is in this square or in this square. Now, there are a couple of ways to see this, but I'll show you the way that I probably see it. We've got 3 blocking up here and 3 across here like this. So in this section here, 3 is either in this square or this square. Okay? Can't be in any of these 3 squares. So if 3 is here or here, it means, of course, it cannot be here. So we know that that is a 3. Again, as I say, if this is your first time ever playing the game, and it's a bit fast, just go back and rewatch it. Right, let's try and find the next number. We have 5 blocking up here and 5 blocking up here. And that's a 5. Now, over here, 5 and 5 mean that we can place 5 in that square, and that's the final digit 5. There are no more to get. The missing numbers here and here are 8 and 9. We still don't know about these yet, so we have to come back to that later. Right, what else can we get? Let's have a click on the digits. So 1 is done. What do we know about 2s? Anything? Do we know enough about 2 to finish the game? I think not. What do we know about 3s? Enough to finish the game, yes or no? I think not. What do we know about 4s? Enough to finish the game, yes or no? Well, we've got 4 blocking across here, and we've got 4 blocking across here. And so we know that the 4 goes here. Now, if you remember earlier on, I said that 3 was in one of those squares because the 3 blocked across here. So we can now see there's only 1 opportunity for the 3. So we know that the 3 is in that square. Now, 3 blocking across here and up here means that that's our 3, and 3 blocking up and up here and across there means that that's our final digit 3. There are no more 3s to be found. There is 1 empty square in this row. The missing number is an 8, so we'll put the 8 there. And now there's 1 empty in this row or this block, same digit of course. It's going to be a 9. Any more single digits missing? Well, we have the 8 blocking down here, and so that is going to be an 8. And now we only have 1 number to complete this block here, which is a 4. And then we can look at the empty square up here in this column and say, hey, you must be a 2. And there's 1 empty square in this column as well, and this is going to be a 4. You can hear me delaying because I'm trying to look for the answers. 4 blocks up here and 4 blocks across here, and there's the 4. And now we have 4 blocking down to the bottom and 4 across here. This will be the final digit 4. There's 1 more number to get in this row. That's a 7. 7 stops this square from being a 7, and so this will be 7. Or you could just look down this column and say there's 1 empty square. It must be filled by a 7. We've also got 7 blocking up here and 7 across these 2 rows, which will give us the 7 there. 1 empty square here. This is for an 8. And okay, there are 2 empty squares in this row. The missing numbers in this row are 8 and 9. Okay, now we have an 8 blocking this square, so we know this can't be 8. So this is going to be 9, and this is going to be 8. And we are almost done. There's 1 empty square at the top here. What goes there? Is it a 9? I think it is a 9. It is. Okay, now the 9 blocks across here. That gives us 9 in that square. We still need an 8 here, and the 8 blocks across giving us an 8 there. We need a 2 to complete this row or this block here, and that 2 will block down and give us the 2 here, or you could just look for the empty square. And 1 digit will complete the grid in terms of block here, column and row, and the entire grid, and that's a 9. And that's our Guardian beginner level puzzle for Monday. And there are plenty of other, if you look at the end of this video, there'll be a playlist of easy games that you can try if you've never played Sudoku before. Okay, thank you for joining me. Come back and watch some more Sudoku, subscribe to the channel, etc., etc. Thank you, bye-bye.